Glad that Channel 9 decided to give this old guy a chance. So sit back and admire this, because this is just tennis at its best. I have a lot of history, not all of it good here, but you cannot be serious, man.
You need to turn those lights up a little.
That was a poor call.
Stand by. It's about to go up a cog. That'll finish it. It's all about the fun out there.
Now I know why he retired. Say that one more time.
How do you like my shirt?
Would have been better if it was ironed, but look, it's looking pretty good.
Oh, that was harsh. I'll see you later, man. If looks could kill, he'd be lying on the floor.
Do you ever look at these other players and say, why don't they try very hard?
I think everybody's trying hard, John. I think.
Oh, what a treat it has been to have an icon of the tennis world, John McEnroe, as part of Nine's Summer of Tennis over the past 2 years and beyond. And I'm pleased to say he joins us live from the United States here on Sports Sunday. Hello, John.
How's everyone doing down under? Good?
We're doing well, celebrating the return of sport here. It's a little bit different in your world with tennis at the moment. Since we last saw you down under, there's been next to no tennis played on the WTA and ATP circuits. Are we getting any closer? Because the US Open, your beloved tournament, it's only a couple of months away.
Well, I'm going to give you a very short answer. I don't know. I mean, obviously everyone's praying that event's going to happen. I'm not sure I'm a big believer in playing without fans, but that's where it seems to be headed, at least for the US Open, probably the French if it happens at all. But the way I see it right now is the first event we're going to have, if it happens, is the US Open.
Well, John, there's talk about that of August this year, I believe, is the time that the US Open should start. But we're seeing today on our news coverages problems in California, in LA, and Philadelphia. I saw in the news earlier this morning. Is that realistic? Is the August US Open a possibility?
Well, first of all, what's happening now across our country has nothing to do with sport. It has to do with a murder that took place a couple days ago, and there's some rioting, and then people want justice and they're frustrated. So it's boiled over. I think some of it has to do with people have been cooped up. They just need to get outside, and it's just gone too far the other way. But at the moment, it wouldn't look like they'd be doing anything sports-wise. But hopefully this thing will calm down in the next couple of days. They finally arrested one of the officers. I'm sure it's going to continue until they arrest the other ones. So we'll have to wait and see what happens and how it's handled by the politicians.
John, you mentioned the game without crowds, and Roger Federer has come out and said the same thing. He wouldn't necessarily love playing without them. But if the game can come back sooner, would you support it?
I have mixed feelings. It's easy for me to say, I'm a commentator. I've been lucky enough to be doing that for quite a while. I played on the seniors tour. I've been playing for 40 years, but it's not about me trying to win Wimbledon. So I can understand why the players that have a chance to go and win a major or want to make a living, they want to play even if there's no fans. Me personally, and it's easy to be the backseat driver, I just can't. It would be too weird for me at this time to see that. I'd rather wait it out and hope by the Australian Open, or maybe they push it back another couple months and see if they can do it later or possibly at another place. But doing sports without fans, that seems rough to me. But if all the other sports do it, it looks like the NBA is going to do it. They're going to play in Disney World of all places. All teams are going to go there. The NHL, the hockey's going to play. Football's talked about no fans. So I don't think we should be holding the bag then if they're all doing it. I guess I prefer not to see it, but if it happens, I think tennis should follow suit.
John, in this country, we follow very closely the fortunes of Nick Kyrgios, and we have a certain measure of frustration that his extraordinary talent hasn't necessarily translated into the Grand Slams we think he might be able to win. He's now number 40 in the rankings. If you personally were to rank him purely on tennis talent, where in the current generation, where would he be on talent alone?
On talent alone, I put him behind the top three. If you include Murray, I'd throw him right behind the three legends, Novak and Rafa and Roger. Murray's 1-3, I think. So he'd be the next guy. He should have won some already if he had been able to, keep his mind on the job. But as we all know, for people that are around sports and are athletes, it's not just about how much talent you had. It's about how much fortitude you have mentally, and what type of fitness you allow you put yourself in mentally as well as physically, and how deep you're willing to dig. I mean, and how far will you go to get the win and do what it takes? And
would you ever
he's
be
not
tempted
been able to do that. For what, you know, I'm not Sigmund Freud. I'm not a psychologist. We've had these discussions many times. I don't know if he'll ever be able to do it. I hope he does, because I happen to like him, and it would be great for the game if he did.
Would you ever be tempted, given your own background of mastering your own talent and a sometimes tempestuous temperament, would you ever be tempted to take him in hand, to coach him to do that?
Thank you for putting the question that way. I appreciate it. Of course I'd be tempted. You know, I'd rather be a father figure, a mentor, and a friend to keep him on the court and be happy what he's doing, to hopefully be able to embrace and enjoy what he's doing. I know that, you know, the expectations weigh heavy on his shoulder, and some people have that fear of failure. We all do. It's just how you handle it. And so it's been difficult for him to be able to understand what it takes to bring out the best of himself consistently. But, you know, he'd be like a no-brainer that if it worked, it would be incredible. We'd probably be at each other's throats within minutes, but it'd be certainly...
It's wonderful of your offer. On behalf of Australia, thank you, John McEnroe. A nation turns its lonely eyes to you to take him in hand. Mark.
Well,
I'm all for it. You know, I mean, you know, they asked him that down in Australia a couple months ago. He said, well, I'd rather just go and have a couple beers with him. So his head, not only with me, you know, and it can be someone else. I'm not the only guy that would be willing and able to, I believe, do a job. But he just doesn't seem ready to have a coach. You know, first of all, he's got to be ready to want to do it.
John, you talked about legends, the top three. I want to ask you about Roger Federer and Serena Williams. They're both approaching their 39th birthday. This layoff, this enforced layoff from the game, is this going to be good to extending their careers, or will it potentially end their careers?
Well, of course, we don't know the answer to that. But first of all, keep in mind, Federer wasn't planning on playing to the grass court season. So in a way, it's been perfect for him being able to be at home with his family and train. And Serena's plays very few events right now. So if Serena put her mind to it and, you know, got herself in as good a possible condition as she would be able to, I believe that she's still going to win some more, even at her age. Roger, they're both freaks of nature. It's amazing that they're still so great at their age with the wear and tear and still the drive to do it. That's the biggest thing. I mean, we talk about, you know, what it would take for Kyrgios. You imagine if he had the drive of a Serena Williams, where he'd be at right now. So you never can count these two players out there. Arguably, I mean, Serena, there's no question to me, she's the best female tennis player of all time. Roger, you know, if you can argue if it's him or Rafa, possibly Novak's in the mix now. So he's, you know, it's gravy, I think, for them. So in a way, I bet you they're handling it better than almost all the other players.
John, we've got to wrap it up there. We'd love to chat to you all day. I'm going to optimistically farewell you by saying see you in January.
I sure hope I see all you in January. Beers and dinner on me.
All right, sounds good. Hold you to that one. You might even see Fitzy making trips out. Thanks so much. The great John McEnroe joining us live from the United States. And I wonder if Nick Kyrgios was watching on with interest today.
Couldn't you just cancel the rest of the show and just keep him on?
We could just do. I want to talk art with him. He loves his art.
He's a fascinating character.
A lot we could have discussed. Might have to get him on before the year's out. All right.